Whispers of the Earl. A Regency romance short story. The night was calm at Ravensleigh Manor, the ancient seat of the Duke of Ravensleigh. Its tall windows glowed faintly in the darkness, the great house a sentinel of wealth and power, standing proud against the rolling English countryside. Within those walls lived Lady Evelina Whitcombe, the Duke's beloved granddaughter and ward. Admired in society for her grace and composure, she seemed every inch the perfect lady. But appearances could be cruelly deceptive, for Evelina carried a secret. Years ago, when she was barely 16, she had been seduced by a notorious rake, Viscount Redford. With whispered promises of devotion, he coaxed her into folly, only to abandon her once he had stolen her innocence. The scandal, had it become known, would have destroyed her. But the Duke had acted swiftly, his power shielding her reputation. The world never guessed the truth. Yet Evelina knew, and it haunted her. She had vowed never to trust her heart again, never to risk shame or heartbreak. She danced politely at balls, smiled at suitors, and lived as the Duke's dutiful ward. But deep down, she believed herself unworthy of love. It was on an autumn morning when golden light filtered through the parkland that fate intervened. Evelina rode her chestnut mare along the wooded paths of Ravensleigh estate, the crisp air fresh with the scent of falling leaves. Suddenly, a gunshot cracked in the distance, a hunter's stray fire. The mare reared violently and bolted. Evelina clung to the reins, but terror surged as the horse raced headlong through the trees. "Steady!" "Whoa!" The voice was deep, commanding. A rider burst from the woods, dark-haired, broad-shouldered, dressed in the severe style of a soldier. In one fluid motion he seized her bridle and wrestled the horse to a halt. Evelina's breath came quick, her heart pounding. The stranger dismounted, towering before her, his face set in grave lines, his grey eyes sharp yet steady. "Are you hurt, madam?" I am quite well," she stammered, though her hand still trembled. He bowed slightly. "Lord Tristan Blackwood, Earl of Halmsworth." Evelina's eyes widened. She knew the name. Recently returned from the peninsula, Halmsworth was a man of whispered legend, scarred by battle, disdainful of society, a soldier whose honour had never faltered. "I am Lady Evelina Whitcombe," she replied softly. Their eyes met, and something unspoken flickered there. In the weeks that followed, their paths crossed often. Halmsworth had taken a lease on a neighbouring estate, preferring the quiet countryside to the clamour of London. He found Evelina unlike the women who filled drawing rooms with frivolous chatter. There was dignity in her reserve, depth in her eyes. For Evelina, the Earl's company stirred a dangerous warmth. He was not polished like the fops of London, nor did he flatter her with hollow compliments. Instead, he listened, he saw her, and that frightened her more than she cared to admit. At a winter assembly, beneath chandeliers and music, Halmsworth asked her to dance. She hesitated, then placed her hand in his. As they moved across the floor, he studied her intently. "You are not what I expected," he murmured. "And what did you expect, my lord?" "A lady of elegance, without the sorrow I see in your eyes." She turned her face away. "You are mistaken." He gave a small, knowing smile. "I am rarely mistaken." The shadows of the past soon returned. Viscount Redford, disgraced by gambling debts, reappeared in London. Learning of Evelina's growing closeness to Halmsworth, he scented opportunity. Cornering her in the orangery one afternoon, he smirked, his once handsome features hardened with vice. "My sweet Evelina," he drawled, "did you think I had forgotten you? Your beauty is more captivating than ever. I wonder, would Lord Halmsworth feel the same if he knew the truth of our history? Evelina stiffened. Leave this house at once. He leaned closer, his voice a hiss. You shall obey me. Either you meet my terms or I will see your reputation destroyed. One whisper from me and you are ruined forever. Her composure nearly faltered, but she fled to her grandfather's study, tears streaming. The Duke of Ravensley listened, his stern face softening. My dear child, he said, taking her hand. I have known your burden all along. You knew? Evelina whispered, astonished. Of course. You returned from that summer a shadow of yourself. I swore then that no man would harm you again. Redford shall not touch you, not while I live. But Redford was not easily dismissed. At a glittering London ball, he struck his cruelest blow. Producing forged letters, he accused Evelina publicly of indecency, waving the papers with triumphant malice. Gasps echoed as matrons whispered, and Evelina stood pale, stricken. Here, ladies and gentlemen, Redford sneered, proof of the Duke's ward's true nature. Enough! The single word thundered across the ballroom. Halmsworth strode forward, eyes blazing, his tall frame commanding silence. You dare insult this lady. Redford faltered, but forced bravado. I merely you reveal yourself a liar and a coward, Halmsworth said coldly. These letters are false, and I know, for I have courted Lady Evelina with honour. She is under my protection. Any man who repeats these slanders will answer to me. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Redford, pale with fury, fled the ballroom. That night, Evelina sat by the fire in the Duke's library, her composure broken. Tears glistened as she whispered, You defended me. Even knowing what? Halmsworth asked gently. That I am not untouched, she said in anguish. Redford, Halmsworth stepped forward, taking her trembling hands. Evelina, he said softly. You were betrayed. That makes you no less worthy. You are braver, kinder, and truer than any woman I have known. She sobbed against him, and he held her close, his heart unyielding in its devotion. Their wedding followed quietly, away from scandal's glare. In a sunlit chapel, Evelina walked down the aisle in ivory silk, her grandfather steady at her side. Halmsworth's eyes never left her face, filled with reverence. As vows were spoken, the Duke whispered, At last, child, you are safe. This is all I ever wished for you, when Tristan Blackwood, Earl of Halmsworth, kissed his bride's hand. Evelina felt the chains of her past fall away. Love had found her, even when she believed it lost forever. And from that day, Evelina was no longer haunted by whispers of scandal. Only by the Earl's vow, his eternal promise to cherish her, come what may. The end. Pray accept my gratitude, dear viewer, for accompanying us through this tale. I trust it has brought you some measure of delight. If the story has pleased you, kindly grace us with your thoughts and do subscribe to this channel that you may be promptly notified when further romances and adventures are unveiled. Until our next meeting, I remain most obliged to you.